Okay, we're in our second week of Advent and looking at love and understanding. And this is, as I have explained, a little different from the traditional approach, but we're not a traditional church, so I thought the time has come for me to present something as I find meaningful to me, and I hope to you as well. But we're using, well, I'll describe this in just a moment again, but question, how many of you have been to Murfreesboro, Arkansas, to the Crater of Diamonds State Park? None of you have? Well, you just don't know what you're missing. What it is, it's a state park, but it's a big field that they plow. The park officials plow it up every so often, and then you get to go out into that field and look for diamonds. And people have picked up some pretty valuable stones from that place. You wouldn't think so, but I was reading on a website this morning about it, and Beth and I and Audrey and Ashley, our son, actually went there many years ago. But they say the diamonds there are worth about 10 times more than other diamonds. I don't know what other diamonds, I guess African or whatever, but that they're quite valuable. But what's interesting about it is most people don't know what a diamond looks like when it's been plowed up from a field. And yet they can be extremely valuable. When we think of diamonds, we think of rings and bracelets and earrings and those kinds of things, cut diamonds. Well, you don't go out in that field in your jeans and boots and gloves and expect to find a cut diamond. But what you do is you start at the park service at the building, and they will train you how to see them, how to spot a diamond in the rough. And again, the ones that we actually saw, and you can go online and look at this, it's a very interesting place. If you saw one of these on the ground, you might think it was a piece of quartz or something, just a normal kind of a rock. But they're anything but normal. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because the way I approach the Gospels is exactly the same way. What I look for is what I call the mystical thread, and that is the diamond in the rough. That's the valuable thing that we're looking for. What mainstream Christianity presents us with is a diamond ring. It's a cut diamond, and it has a lot of value. There's no question about that. It's helped a lot of people. Millions of people subscribe to it. And I subscribe to aspects of it. But I'm more into the digging up diamonds out of the field. That's the kind of person I have become. I'll take the diamond ring, that's okay too, but from a spiritual point of view, we have a teaching, a diamond in the rough, that has been converted into a diamond ring. And so we say, well, what's a diamond? And we look at the ring and say, that's what the diamond is. It's true, it is a diamond. But we are wanting to get to the core of the gospel message. What did Jesus teach? Not what did the church fashion his teaching into, this ring that we see. But what does the diamond in the rough look like? What is it? What was the original message? So if you want to understand what a diamond in the rough looks like, you don't go to the jewelry store and look at the finished product. You don't even go out in the field at first. You do research. You talk to people who know what diamonds in the rough look like. And that's what critical scholarship is. It's not religious. It's not scholarship about diamond rings or how diamonds are cut. Critical scholarship is about how to spot a diamond in the rough. And so you don't go to the Bible to find the diamond in the rough. And that may sound like a total contradiction until you think of this analogy. You go to those who can help you identify it. The difference between a diamond ring, the finished product, and the thing the diamond ring comes from originally, the diamond in the rough. And so this mystical thread, to me, is the diamond in the rough. There is an undercurrent, an underlying teaching that is based on mysticism. I believe Jesus was a mystic, and that should not be a mysterious statement. What that means, what a mystic is a person who not only believes but knows from direct experience that God is omnipresent but centered in every individual. The mystic seeks that direct connection and teaches others to do the same. It's not going to the jewelry store and worshiping the jewelry there. And again, there's a place for that. But it's understanding there is an underlying message that the early church took and fashioned into a thing we call Christian theology. And actually there were many branches, many different kinds of sects, people that took the teachings of Jesus and interpreted them in a different way. Some made bracelets, some made necklaces. But the mainstream Christian movement snuffed those out and said, we're only going to do rings here. And here's what it's going to look like. And that was a long process. And they actually attacked, murdered, burned, did all kinds of things to say, we're going to just do rings, okay? If you do anything else, it's not going to go well for you. But that's how it evolved. You had a message from a man, a mystic, who had a direct experience with God and said to the rest of the world, you can have this too. The things I do, you can do as well. And even greater things. Because I go to the Father, I go to this eternal source that is grounded in every person. We're all expressions of that. And so when you understand that, where would you get the understanding of Jesus' diamond in the rough teachings? You would ask not the question, what does the Bible say he said? You wouldn't take a red letter edition and just take all the red quotes out of it and say, well, here's what he taught. Because a lot of what you see in red is teachings of the church using the voice of Jesus. You would want to identify what is the mystical thread first. You go into the state park office and say, what does a diamond in the rough look like? What are the characteristics? How do I identify it? So when you understand the mystical message, God within, which means every human being is an expression of God. Every human being is divine. And that doesn't mean the personality has it all worked out, because it doesn't. And that's the problem at the human level. And we know this because at the animal level, at the plant level, they don't have the imagination and the personality stuff that we have. I pointed out in one of my books, you can look at a herd of 100,000 wildebeest, and they all act pretty much the same. If you had a wildebeest religion, they probably all go to the same church. It's just they all They all express basically the same way. And animals do have personalities. They have different characteristics that would, if you got to know them well enough, if you've had horses, dogs, cats, any animals, you'll see. They all have personalities, but they do express in a certain way. But compare that to you drive into a town of 100,000 people. Could you even begin to say the same thing about human beings? That we all express basically the same way? You know, we have the same basic needs. But how many religions are in, just say Grand Junction, how many religions are here? How many belief systems? How many political parties? How many different kinds of people are there? Very distinguishable. Not like 100,000 wildebeest. So that's the thing that separates us from them, is that we have this creative imagination that sets us apart. And that creative imagination gets us in trouble sometimes. We identify ourselves as something less than we are, and a wildebeest can't do that. I'm pretty sure of it. They don't have that ability. You don't see that in nature. You know, I feed birds outside, and my best customers are sparrows. You can look at it at any time. There's always about 50 of them out there, just like vacuum cleaners, you know, sucking up the food. But once in a while there's quail or there's whatever else is out there. But the sparrow is considered like the most normal, simplest, common creature, you know, that flies around every place. They're every place. But you watch them, and they are all behaving basically the same. There's not one sparrow that says, I'm richer than that other one, or I'm smarter, or I'm whatever. I mean, they all behave, at least through observation, about the same. They're like the wildebeest. They don't have that creative imagination. They don't need it, because that would become a block in them, because a sparrow would be saying, you know, I'm just a sparrow. If he had this creative imagination, I'm going to be a robin. I want to be an eagle. I'm not going to be happy unless I am. See, they don't have that ability, and we do. And we get up in the morning and say, I'm not going to be happy until I get my life just exactly like so-and-so has it, or like I think it should be. And so we make ourselves miserable, and we put ourselves in classes, and we define ourselves in ways that animals simply do not. And nature, if you leave it alone, works pretty well. It's been working for millions of years. And we come along and we can mess things up really quick, really fast, because we have this wonderful imagination. But it is not a bad thing. It's just that we need to learn to use it. And what we have done with it, we have created religions that have nothing to do with truth. We have created religions that have nothing to do with the diamond in the rough. We've created whole thought patterns around about ourselves that are simply not true about who and what we are at the spiritual level. And so the whole thing of a mystic is to say, get back to your spiritual core, set all stuff aside for a while. Learn to observe and discover who and what you are as a spiritual being. That's why we stress meditation. Jesus said, go into your room and shut the door. That means lay down the books. It means lay down the opinions. You won't find what you're looking for in the jewelry store. You'll find it out there in the dirt. You'll find it in yourself, and that's not to say that you're dirt. But you don't need anything to add to your life to find God. That's the message of the mystic, and every single one of them say it. You get into any of the mystical teachers, any of the mystical writings, and Christian mysticism, Jewish mysticism, it doesn't matter what it is. They all say exactly the same thing. They have the same message. Why are there so many Christian churches? Because we're not all saying the same thing. It's because we're not beginning with the diamond in the rough. We're beginning in the jewelry store. We're saying, all these differences. This is the right, that's wrong. But the mystic says, go within, turn within, have your experience with God. And the head mystic says, the things I do, you can do also, and even greater things, because I'm going to my source. I go to the Father. That's how you do it. That's the key. I think when he said, follow me, he's not saying try to be like me. He's saying, do the thing I'm doing. I'm going within myself, and I have developed such a close relationship with God that I refer to God as Father. So that's what we're after, and that's what we're looking at through this series. And just to go back and explain this again, what we have up in front here is a wreath surrounded by evergreen, and that is symbolic of God, eternal, no beginning, no end. The circle, no beginning, no end. And the green is, evergreen is symbolic of eternal life. The first candle, or the white candle in the middle, we call it the Christ, the soul, center of power, and we're lighting all the candles off of this. So you notice the white one was lit first. That's symbolic of the idea that it's always burning. That's you. That's your spiritual core. That's your soul. It's always there. It's a light. Let your light shine. And as we go to this core, this is the diamond in the rough. As we go to this core, then we begin to express things like life. That was the first candle I lit last week. Today is love, understanding. Next week we'll look at power and strength, intelligence and order. These are 4 characteristics of God. God is life, God is love, God is power, God is intelligence. And we see this all throughout Scripture. We see it described in many places. Power, for example. Why would they call God Almighty? It's power. God is life, the life that is all of us, in all of us. God is love. That's a direct quote from John, 1 John, I think it is. God is love. And intelligence. Intelligence is expressed through all aspects of creation. The sparrow's out there just as bright as it needs to be a successful sparrow. It expresses a level of intelligence. It may not be as much as yours or mine, but it doesn't need that. We couldn't live the life a sparrow lives. Wouldn't last very long at all. But the intelligence expresses through different channels like this in the degree that it does. So the point here is that this power is expressing through us different aspects. And then again, I break it down. You think of the white light of God, universal energy flowing into every one of us, expressing exactly as we need it. And it is always accessible to us. If you say, I don't know what to do, you're saying, I don't have the intelligence to know what to do, and that's not right. You begin to say, I do have the intelligence, because I'm immersed in the intelligence of God right now. There's no love in my life. Yes, there is. Love is at work in your life right now. I feel so powerless in this situation. Infinite power is present with you now. Begin to affirm that. Begin to associate with that. There's no life. I have no enthusiasm. Yes, you do. That elixir of life is present all the time. It never leaves. And you don't express it by saying, I don't have it. You express it by saying, I do have it. Infinite life expresses through me, and your enthusiasm level begins to rise very slowly, perhaps, but it rises. So we acknowledge that universal presence and express it in the way that we need to at any given time. And I love this statement. I've always loved it, but this is a mystical part of the mystical thread. The traditional approach will say that he's talking about himself. Jesus is talking about himself here, but it's you, it's your soul that is doing the speaking here. I am the true vine, and my Father is the vine dresser. Every branch of mine that bears no fruit, he takes away. And every branch that does not bear fruit, he prunes, that it may bear more fruit. You see, I have said love dissolves that which is not for your highest good and draws to you that which is. That's exactly what is being said here. Every branch of mine that bears no fruit, he takes away. Do you have any branches in your life at this moment that are being taken away? Are you grabbing onto that branch saying, I don't want to lose that branch. I want that branch. It's usually what we do. Somebody said, I let go, leaving claw marks all the way down the... That's love dissolves everything that's not working for your highest good. Love takes away every branch that does not bear fruit. And he prunes, or it prunes that which needs it so it may bear more fruit. So it's the end result, the greater good. Dissolve something, draw something. That is, the pruning is not a bad thing. It may not feel so good sometimes. Anytime I get pruned, it never feels so good, you know. But the one doing the pruning usually says, well, it's for your best, it's for your highest good. So it's for your good. This is going to hurt me more than it is you. I don't know. But pruning is a good thing. We know it is. If you've got a fruit tree, or if you've got any kind of thing where you want to see it flourish, you prune it. It makes sense because there's energy going to that branch that you don't want to go there. You want it to do something else. You want it to produce more fruit. So the idea is I want a fruitful life. So if I say love is at work in my life, this is what I'm saying. Things that don't work for me are going to be cut off. And if you affirm divine love working in your life, be prepared for that. And maybe some directions I'm going, maybe they're sort of okay, but something else needs to happen. Something a little bigger, broader. That's a pruning. Maybe turn your direction just half a degree. Turn your thinking just a little bit. I'm afraid of failing. I'm afraid of losing. Well, let's prune that branch. We can say, yes, I'm afraid. Let's admit where we are. But then let's prune that branch. It's not I, but the Father within that does the works. Let's open ourselves up to the presence of God that is here now. Because you can't see sometimes what you need to do if you're so locked in. You're hanging onto that dead branch. Or not willing to be pruned a little. But what we are doing, wanting to do, is lift our eyes and see that vineyard producing maximum. We want our life to work. And so when we affirm that divine love is working through me, be ready. Be open-minded about this. Because there may be some things you're hanging on to that just need to be let go. So here's how to do it. We have some affirmations for love and understanding. I am guided by the understanding that love imparts. Now this is kind of a contract. You're saying, I'm willing to be guided by the understanding that love imparts. Well, what if love imparts some understanding you don't want, or you don't particularly like? So this is a trust. It's a trust process, but it is a contract. For Jesus to walk on water, and I'm not going to, that's a whole different subject. But he had to take the first step. And that's what we have to do. And this is the way to do it. I'm guided by the understanding that love imparts. If you're willing to do this, say it with me together. I am guided by the understanding that love imparts. I think I heard all of you say that. Love is my essence. Love is my being. We're getting down to the diamond in the rough. Love is my essence. Love is my being. Let's say that together. Love is my essence. Love is my being. Absolutely true. Love is the balancing action in all my relationships and all conditions in my life. Okay? That's bigger than you think. Because there's things you're hanging on to, perspectives you're hanging on to that you're saying, I'm too afraid to let that go. So this again is a contract. Love is the balancing action in all my relationships and all conditions in my life. If you're willing to sign that contract, let's say it together. Love is the balancing action in all my relationships and all conditions in my life. So when it looks like things are not going right for you, love is in charge. Something's being eliminated, something's being pruned, but greater good is coming forth. That's where our faith is, in that greater good. All right?
2, 3, 4. Wanna have a family Christmas with everyone I know. Cook a meal, light a candle, greet 'em at the door. Sit and chat by firelight, share a love on this holy night. Family Christmas to me would be just right. Wanna have a family Christmas today and every day. No more business as usual, pack my love away. Hearts will shine like Christmas lights, every night would be a Christmas night. Family Christmas to me would be just right. Wanna have a family Christmas where we give our hearts, we'll give our greatest present, the gift of who we are. God bless us with His holy child. Bless our family where our love shines. Family Christmas to me would be just right. Now we say to all my brothers and sisters, thank you for your love every day. Say to my Father in heaven, thank you for sending your Son away. Wanna have a family Christmas where we give our hearts, we'll give our greatest present, the gift of who we are. God bless us with His holy child. Bless His family when our love shines. Family Christmas to me would be just right. Family Christmas to me would be just right. Family Christmas to me would be just right.
You've been watching a talk given by Reverend Doug Bottorff here at Independent Unity in beautiful Grand Junction, Colorado. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. It really helps us spread our message. If you would like to support us, you can do so by clicking the button in the right-hand corner of the video screen. We greatly appreciate your support. Thanks again for watching.